67 Blankets for Nelson Mandela Day is a book by businesswoman and philanthropist Carolyn Steyn. The book shows how the simple gift of a handmade blanket has had a profound effect on the lives of many, accompanied by the story of Nelson Mandela's life. The experiences and views of those who made the blankets are recorded, as well as those who received them, and the many organizations and people who contributed to the project over the 10 years. The author of the book, Carolyn Steyn, joins us now virtually to share more. Carolyn, a very good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Good morning on this Sunday morning.
A beautiful cricket Sunday morning, I would say. Well, it's been 10 years already since you've established 67 Blankets for Mandela. When did you start documenting everything?
Well, we started documenting over the past 10 years, actually. I mean, it's been a project, it's been a labor of love. People say, how long has the book taken to create? I say 10 years. But the hard work, the choosing of millions, going through millions of photographs, I think has taken about 2 years, the scripting of the book. So here's the book. I have to tell you, it's a bestseller. It's number 16 on the top 20 bestseller list at Exclusive Books. So we're very, very proud of it.
And I quite like that the cover is a representation of the project. I mean, it's just a tapestry of colors. Beautiful, beautiful cover it is. Was a book about the organization always on the cards for you, or is it something that you decided on a few years ago?
Well, if I have to tell you, I really wanted 67 Blankets by Mandela Day 2014 after Zelda Lechransi challenged me to make 67 blankets. Not in my wildest dreams did I think that we'd be here 10 years later. And talking of the book, I mean, it's just such a heartwarming thing for all of us. 2 years ago at Steyn City School, we created the biggest Booker blanket in history when the Booker came back from Japan with the Webb Ellis Cup. This is what we created. Thousands of individual blankets put together to create that iconic symbol of the Springbok and the green and gold. So we are so behind the Booker and so proud of Siya Kolisi and everybody that brought that cup home.
Yeah. And roughly, just how many people receive these blankets and how many views did you manage to include in the book?
Well, the challenge was 67 blankets. I'd say within the past 10 years, we have distributed, I can comfortably say, over 167,000 blankets in South Africa alone. Sure. We have become a global organization. It's amazing how a simple idea, a ball of wool and a crochet hook can literally snowball into what many people are calling a movement for good, a movement for change in our world.
And I see that so many people have been empowered by this movement through their involvement, in different parts of the world. Are those views also included in the book?
Everything is in this book. I mean, It's just a tapestry of color. It's rich, it's warm, and it's interwoven with the story of Nelson Mandela. It's really a fantastic gift, especially now that Christmas is coming. And I think it's a wonderful corporate gift as well. And we've only printed 1,500 copies. So I do believe that it's proudly South African.
Yes.
It will become a collector's item because it's limited.
And Carolyn, what are some of the stories that stood out for you and that you've included in the book?
Oh, wow. There's so much. But the one thing that comes to mind immediately is when our blankets went to Kilimanjaro. I'm just looking for that. I think one needs to buy the book because the stories are just incredible. So Jonathan Butt, my husband's PA, climbed Kilimanjaro. He went to my place because my husband said, no, I'm not allowed to go. He said, you're going to die. So Jonathan went in my place and I said, on condition that you make a blanket on your way up. And SABC was there covering, documenting Jonathan Butt making this baby blanket that when he arrived at the top of the mountain, he posed with the blanket. And then, the blanket is well traveled because it was recently there with Songezo from SAFM. And so the prisoners have made blankets. And here's a lovely, I'm going to show this to you. You'll like this. we know where our blankets come from and we know where the blankets end up. So here you'll see there's a prisoner at Zonderwater Maximum Correctional Center who made this blanket. That black and white blanket was also made by a prisoner. That black and white blanket ended up with an orphan. So you can see, wrapped in love. You know, the inmates talk about the fact that they're knitting their broken lives together. They're knitting together broken trusts. With 67 blankets, they're finding their humanity again. And it's really wonderful to see the workmanship, the enterprise, the busyness, the busy hands behind bars that contribute to a society that has been wronged, a society that, you know, is affected by crime and poverty. So I'm very, very proud of 67 Blankets for Nelson Mandela Day. And this book documents our 10-year journey. It takes you on a beautiful journey through our 10 years in South Africa and in countries around the world. And it's wonderful, and I really hope that people go out to Exclusive Books to purchase the book. It's a beautiful coffee table book, and to be at number 16 on the bestseller list at Exclusive Books is unheard of for a coffee table book. So, yeah, it's very, very, very special.
You know, Carolyn, I've been following your story for quite a while now as you embarked on this massive, massive humanitarian drive. And I could see the passion in your eyes. I could sense it in your voice. I mean, what really inspired you to take on this, huge humanitarian drive?
It happened by pure accident. So Zelda Lachransi, Mandela's PA, was at the lunch table with us on my husband's birthday, December 19th, 2013. It was shortly after the passing of our beloved Nelson Mandela. We were all feeling very bruised. And of course, the conversation was all about Madiba. How are we going to continue his legacy? And what are we going to do for Mandela Day the following year? And Zelda said to me, make 67 blankets for Mandela Day. And it was light-hearted banter. And then I realized I don't have 67 friends. And I put a plea out on Facebook at 3 o'clock in the morning, asking if anybody might be able to help me make a blanket because I pledged 67. That's when I learned about the power of the hashtag, the power of Nelson Mandela. I mean, that goes without saying, and combined with the power of social media. So it snowballed, you know, when 67 Blankets was written into the script of generations, the soap opera viewership of 10 million a night, that really propelled us forward. And so it wasn't planned, it just snowballed out of control.
Wow, Carolyn, beautiful. Keep on keeping on. We do appreciate, the passion that you have in trying to help the underprivileged. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Simpiwe. Really appreciate your time and blanket coverage.
Indeed. All right, 67 Blankets for Nelson Mandela Day, a book by Carolyn Steyn. She just spoke to us about the book and the inspiration behind it.